What are the competences of the European Union? That is what we are going to see right now. They are in fact of three types. The European Union can have exclusive competences, shared competences, or supporting competences. We are now going to detail each of these through the most practical and meaningful example possible. Let's start with exclusive competences. An exclusive competence consists of an area where only the Union can legislate. The Member States can only intervene on Union authorization or to implement Union acts. A list of these exclusive competences is set out in Article 3 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union and includes the monetary policy, the commercial policy and custom union, the conservation of the marine biological resources, and the competition policy, which includes all the rules necessary for the functioning of the internal market. A good example in this framework is the commercial policy. The commercial policy is, by simplifying, the policy governing trade barriers, like custom duties or quotas, or competition rules, like mergers. The Union exclusive competence is seen in particular within the World Trade Organization, to which the European Union has acceded and which negotiates treaties or agreements in its own name. In the WTO, the European Union negotiates various treaties and agreements with third parties, for example, with the US. Once a deal is reached, 27 member states are going to discuss it among themselves. The third party will not have any interaction with the member states and only with the European Union's representatives. However, the European Union does not represent individual member states, and states remain free to negotiate bilateral or multilateral treaties on their behalf. Let's then continue with the shared competences. They are contained in Article 4 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. Here, we will speak of concurrent competences. It means that the member states remain competent as long as the Union has not intervened. Therefore, the member states can no longer intervene once a Union legislation has entered into force. However, action by the Union does not totally rule out actions by the member states, in that it is still possible that the Union may lay down only minimum rules, after which the member states are free to adopt more binding rules, or that the Union itself may have left gaps in the system it wanted to set up to give the national authorities greater room for maneuver in adapting its rules. Thus, for example, the European Union has a shared competence with the member states in environmental matters. An important part of the environmental standards to be respected comes from the European Union, which sets the minimum framework that each state must respect. The member states can then either adopt the minimum framework or go further and impose stricter standards at national level. Let's then see the supporting competences. The sole role here of the European Union is to support, coordinate, or supplement the action of the member states. It cannot impose the harmonization of different rules between member states. The most meaningful current example is the European health policy, which seeks, among other things, to protect and improve health, to ensure equal access to effective care for all Europeans, and to coordinate responses to serious health threats. An important role is also given to the prevention and control of disease. This policy, which is both well known for the famous European Health Insurance Card, and at the same time little known, is described in more detail in our article Question and Answers to Mrs. de Grove-Valderon, lecturer at the University Toulousain Capitol, and Cher Jean Monnet of European Health Law, which we invite you to read at the end of this video. To exercise these various competencies, the European Union is subject to two fundamental principles contained in Article 5 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. The first principle is the one of proportionality, which requires that the content and form of the European Union action should not exceed what is necessary to achieve the objectives imposed on it by the treaties. The second principle is the principle of subsidiarity, which only concerns shared or supporting competences. The European Union should intervene only if the objective of the proposed action cannot be achieved satisfactorily by the countries of the European Union and can be achieved more easily or more effectively at the European Union level. What is important to remember about the competencies of the European Union can be summed up as follows. It has three types of competences. Firstly, exclusive competencies. The European Union acts alone or allows member states to act with it, to complement its action. Then we have shared competences. Member states are free to act as long as the European Union has not itself intervened. And then we have supporting competences. The European Union's role here is merely to coordinate the various actions of the member states and cannot force harmonization of the various rules laid down. To exercise its competences, it must respect two fundamental principles. Its action must be proportional, no more than what is necessary, and based on subsidiarity. The action at its level must be more effective than action at member state level.